ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. DC's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. DC's turn to...
My mic was muted. Whoops, sorry.
Dire team pick.
Apologies for the accuracy. No. There's not going to be any Dazzle or Ursa. They taken the Dazzle first pick like every single time, and DC realizing like how much they value that hero and how farmed Rose gets on it, just taking it out. And then Ursa, another one of AOI's favorite heroes. So the Naga being left in the pool here, that's typically first phase ban versus both these teams. NP not choosing to go for it, but they do ban out the Coddle, which one of the better heroes to pair with the Naga. And the Ember, just overall a good hero. And then they go for this Bane Leshrac. NP one of the only teams that will go for this Bane first phase, and then Lesh obviously pairs well with it. The Stun and another Rose hero that allows him to farm and get up a lot of items, which is something he likes to do.
Reserve time.
Chen.
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, we don't see Chen a whole lot. DC does play it from time to time. They'll go for like the Chen, and they'll go for like this early push stuff, and they'll just kind of try and run you over super early on. Sometimes they'll do it with the Lono, so I'm curious to see if NP bans that out or if they say it's fine, you can have it. Had some pretty sizable nerfs. The Night Vision one is pretty significant because it was just impossible to gank that hero before because you just skill your E button and then you have full Night Vision for some reason.
DC's turn to ban. Dire team ban.
In their own draft again. Meepo gonna get the ban.
DC's turn to ban.
All right. One of the better heroes, or just a good hero versus Bane. Leshrac as well. He does have some AoE damage, but kind of gets killed like instantly, and not particularly good at playing from behind as well. So Meepo gets like super far online, gets the Aegis, and then kind of just jumps in and kills both your supports instantly. You have some issues, and also just an obnoxious hero to play against if there's someone that knows how to play, which he obviously does.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best Meepo players, that's for sure. And MP obviously have pulled it out themselves and recognized its potential. It will be taken away along with the Weehaw Shadow Fiend here. Still lots of formidable options out there for Weehaw here moving into the next phase, but DC seem to be targeting what looks like MSS a bit, and then getting rid of the Lycan too, which is also a popular pickup we saw yesterday. But did not really see the light of day yet today, and doesn't look like it will be seen this game either. I think you got to touch a little bit on the Lycan, I don't remember, but I would be curious, can you just like refresh us a bit? Lycan was recently added into Captain's Mode because of 7.02. I think we saw one of his first matches in the hands of Matama Man and Liquid, and he found a lot of success there. Overall seems to be more in fighting, but is this going to be like a popular pick moving forward? Like, could we see Lycan be a top pick in the Kiev Major time?
Oh yeah, I think this hero is quite viable now. It can be a little weird picking him because if you don't have the strongest, supports, or they have a really strong dual lane, the hero can get punished really easily, and he's not the greatest laner in the world. If that hero falls behind, he doesn't really do too much. But in some drafts, definitely can be extremely effective for sure.
Looks like since then MP go for one of their favorite pickups, they get the Mirana. What's more than likely going to be what looks like a support pairing of Bane and Leshrac, but we've always known Mirana and Bane to be a good pairing, and that in itself, just with the sleep and the arrow setup, does kind of reveal a small hand in that case that it is going to be Envy Mirana, and of course, obviously, it's nice to have an arrow to take down a pesky Chen creep from time to time. But I would say Mirana does have her share of tough times and tough matches in the mid lane. So I wonder if DC are going to look to kind of take full advantage of that or not. It looks like what they may be considering here, a pickup of the Vengeful Spirit, another Aura, and maybe some ways to kind of build around a more serious 5-man.
Yeah, typically Resolution playing on the Venge whenever they pick it up. I think they have run it from on Soxa from time to time, but it's not the most common thing in the world. This Mirana, if she falls behind, can have some serious issues versus these Chen lineups. I don't know if Misery goes for the mech that often. I think typically he'll go for like the Aghanims first, get up the golems, and use the creeps to split push lanes. A lot of times you can kind of drag around the map, sort of play that little style of Chen. I think is the more popular style whenever he does get picked up nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think NP's heroes, they have very, very strong rotations. Obviously, a lot of burst, but I think if they fall behind early on, they will have some issues versus this 5-man of DC. Obviously, a lot of physical damage between the Venge and the Slardar. The Chen can help secure their lanes a little bit. So, see what MP goes for next. Using a lot of time, only 15 seconds left.
In a previous matchup, DC, when they had a pretty similar lineup, I believe also with the Chen and Venge Core. Oh no, that must have not been a Venge Core, because that would answer my own question. They did a Lone Druid in that game. But what do you think? Axe is now going to be coming out from MP, so it looks like an MSS Axe, but I'm curious to see if DC do settle in on that core Rezo Vengeful Spirit, or if they want to swap it over to Soxa and get something like a Lone Druid, let's say, for DC or not. I'm not sure how much value they still have in the hero. Moon Meander has it as his avatar, so it's got to be still kind of cool.
Is that Lone Druid?
Looks like it from here. That is definitely Lone Druid. He's been very bitter about Lone Druid. Have you ever seen his Twitter? I mean, he gives a lot of grief to Bulba because, I guess Bulba makes his team.
Is not a Lone Druid. It's some dude in a sweater vest thing.
Moon Meander? Moon Meander, right? Are you
It's
serious?
red and yellow.
Maybe you're looking at a different avatar than me.
I'm looking at his profile right now, y'all.
Very bottom, orange color, Moon Meander. At least on the draft screen, that's a lone druid.
It's a white background with some like dude's face like smirking.
You're seeing something different than me then, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I don't see a lone druid, that's for sure.
Alright. That's weird. Alright, well, probably something with like the ticketing and how it assigns to the player. Since then though, DC could grab up the Invoker here for Weehaw. So thoughts on the Invoker versus Mirana matchup in the mid lane? Not one we see too often, whereas, you know, Mirana's very hot and cold as far as being in the mid lane.
If you get a good start on the Mirana, you can, you know, do just fine. The first couple of waves are pretty Mirana favorites. You can drag the aggro around, air the range creeps, and then just try and harass the Invoker down with your superior animation early. But as the lane goes later and later, the Invoker will take control. But it gets to a point where the Mirana just spams out the wave, does what she can while the Invoker last hits. But they go for the Beastmaster last pick, so adds to their push. You know, almost definitely going to be a Quas Exort Invoker this game, so you're going to have the Sunstrike combo with the Roar across the map, and they have a whole lot of, you know, potential to group up early on, but also a lot of pickup potential if the game does slow down a little bit and NP tries to split the lanes. Mirana typically a pretty slippery hero when she gets the Ags and the Blink online, but DC have a lot of answers for that this game as far as catch goes. But if you go for the Terrorblade, very... I think Envy almost always... I don't think I've ever seen AUI play the Mirana. So they can most probably be a safe lane Terrorblade. He's very, very good, obviously, versus all this physical damage versus Slaughter, Avenge, Beastmaster. Even the Chen, a lot of the creeps right-clicking in doesn't do much to the Terrorblade. But as the game goes later and later, just does terribly versus Invoker.
5 seconds.
Terribly.
Hey.
I like what you did there, sir. But late game doesn't fare too well against the Invoker. That's the serious point you were trying to make.
Yeah, with the Deafening Blast, you can get bursted down really easily if they, you know, they combo up the Roar and the Crush with the Meteor. Sunstrike just overall has a lot of burst and a lot of AoE control the Terrorblade illusions do not fare well against.
And off we go here. I love how this has quickly turned into its own minigame in meta. The race to TP, head out, and get the most viable wards down you need for these particular lane setups. They find each other, they race, they get the set down there. Can't not see where he placed the initial ward. Did he even get one down? We are going to be going to a pause as there was a bug. It does not look like Rose was able to get something down. So both the wards from DC actually going to be in the bottom lane here. I guess, you know, it does mean Moon Meander is going to be kind of on his own for the sake of vision, but it does look like MP have also planted their own ward to kind of scout out the side camp that, you know, your Beastmaster would typically like to farm. Seems a bit scary for Moon in that lane. Win.
Yeah, he did buy laning items though, like for the Tango, solving the Salt, so it's going to start in the lane early on, and buy some time for the Invoker. Something that Moon, back when he was on OG, would do almost every game back when Iron Talon was super prevalent and people would go for it. But basically every game, almost nobody ever went to lane. Moon was like the only offlaner who would go to lane, and he'd just stay there and he'd, you know, try his best not to die, harass them, drag the creeps around, just be a pain and buy time for his mid. Especially when they had these roaming supports like the Bane and the Lestrak. We're super susceptible to that, and they're gonna try and buy him some time. Has the Iron Talon queued up, so get as much as he can in lane until his regen runs out, or it becomes too dangerous. Then go back and farm after he's bought his Invoker some time.
And in his matchup, he's going to be going against not an easy one either. If it is going to be this, what looks like the Bane plus Axe. Bane already known to be a pretty damn good support as far as, you know, zoning back offlaners in the lane. Has the benefit of, you know, a sleep if things get too hairy, or of course the ridiculous pure damage of a Brain Sap to be able to kind of just swing around the life. And with it being pure damage, it's just a super hard-hitting nuke early on. It's like... yeah, Envy is going to be repping the Mirana towards the mid lane here. Rose on his Lesh, who always seems to be very proactive in the game on his support Leshrac. Very mobile. He already has freaking windlace even. Just to kind of, you know, really up his mileage. And then finally, it looks like, yeah, bottom lane. Oh, bottom lane for now. Owie on his Terrorblade. So is this going to be the commitment? Are they going to roll Owie in like a half kind of aggro setup between just him and Rose's Lesh?
Yeah, the Bane may migrate down here. He had TP'd in smoke to get the ward up to see if the Beastmaster is jungling or not, or you know, if they're making rotations up to this top lane, and now is probably going to migrate down to bottom.
Oh, okay.
Give the axe the 1v1, does very well versus the Beastmaster in the 1v1, and then you know, they can try and punish this Venge, you know, Venge Slardar, not really the strongest of dual lanes. Pretty greedy supports early on. And NP gonna try and take advantage of that, and they have the potential to even win all 3 lanes here if this tri-lane goes well, and you know, mid lane will probably break even, but NP have the potential to roam in and maybe get some kills in the Invokers, so if the lanes do set up like this, where it's this tri-lane versus just the dual lane of Saksa and Resolution with the 1v1 up top, and I think NP will be very happy with how the lanes are set up.
Is there any audible or some way that DC can kind of try to rotate and accommodate for the aggro lane coming out from MP? Yeah, I know we already have Misery who has to like rummage his way through the jungle, and I don't know what kind of path he's certain to be set on. Maybe it's him that kind of needs to help make the impression to kind of even things out in the bottom lane. Essentially, is there anything DC can kind of do to prepare for this or react to it once they see the lanes happen?
Yeah, I think you may look for some, Satyr maybe, or you know, just a strong battling creep and run it to this offlane and be almost like you know, help out in the lane a little bit, look for a kill with Saksa, who is firing out a salve now, so we can have a little bit more regen. But yeah, I think he's definitely gonna have to help out this bottom lane. I don't think this is a game where you can sacrifice, you know, just all of your lanes. Doesn't really have a ton of kill potential on mid, and can't really help out top. So it's either gonna be turbo farming or gonna help out bottom. Misery, we'll have to see what he goes for, but this bottom lane could be pretty rough, as they do have quite a bit of kill potential between the reflection, and the sleep stun.
Yeah, the sleep stun is one to be feared here. Vengeful Spirit has decent range to work with, but overall kind of values her positioning in the lane. And Saksa, I mean, I don't think the Slaughter is going to really do a whole lot to kind of zone them back. He's going to find himself out-muscled real quick. And then we look to DC to see how they're going to try to respond to it here. And the mid laners beginning to crash. It looks like Weehaw favored in his block. Kind of gets the high ground leverage to kind of go into the first wave. MV has the arrow. He could just go for taking out the range creep right away, and he will. Has that kind of a benefit. MV loves his range creeps. We saw a highlight not long ago. He would be happy to hand over his own life if it meant denying the range creep. But here we already see, I mean, MP have taken over the bottom lane. Resolution's like, guys, oh, okay, what am I gonna do? You know, so he has to just wait for the wave to move on forward, but something will have to be done, otherwise this man is gonna be left starving a little bit early on.
Yep, Sox are trying to stack this camp up, but actually, no, actually blocking it, so was pulling it, trying to get it to aggro their wave, it looks like, but and then NP trying to stack it and him, you know, body blocking it. It's kind of some shenanigans with the camp going on, but yeah, Resolution's gonna have a really rough time down here until, yeah, we see Misery coming down with the Hellbear, so he's looking for either a Hellbear or a Satyr or something like that. It's gonna come down and try and harass these NP supports off by Resolution a little bit of space.
Let's see if he can get the assistance necessary for DC to kind of try to hold their own in this laning phase before they get kind of swallowed up. Here comes our little tomato friend. BG sees it after doing the brain sap and might try to back up and away. And this will kind of even things out a bit. I want to quickly scope at this top lane here. It looks like MSS has kind of been able to open things up. And this advantage matchup he has against Moon and his Beastmaster, he's at 10 CS. Moon will now have under the tower to work with, but this is going to be a pretty nice start for the Axe. Okay, here we go. Crush, missile. Looking to go for the weak Lesh. They'll get it done. Misery going to be picking up the first blood. Then drops down the net. A follow-up support takedown. A double kill for Misery. Owie. He's moving in. He wants a metamorphosis kill. He's not going to be able to get it. Misery hides within the trees. Pops his salve and makes it out. Swing and a miss on the stun from Rose. MP will return back to the lane, but they take a good hard shot. And that is unfortunate. Setting up this aggro lane, you're hoping to be the team that's kind of taking it to DC, but here they're going to be the ones handing over not 1 but 2 kills.
Yeah, that was super nice play for Misery. Someone going in with the Hellbearer, throwing out the clap, and then backing it up. It was about to die, juked the stun, and then kind of baited them in, denied the creep so they didn't get the last hit or the XP, and then grabbed that extra troll with Soxa coming in, getting the 2-man stun, and they clean up both kills. So really nice play early on, and it's going to buy them a little bit of space and time. Now picking up the Penitence, so having that extra bonus damage and movement speed slow if they try and go for another kill as he gets an Imizer and comes strolling in.
And all the meanwhile, the troll here, I don't know if he's been sharing control or what, but the troll's also being very annoying, like messing with the pulls, now dishes out the net. Misery just confidently sitting there. Now takes in the Hellbearer. He's like, oh, that's mine, that's mine now. And it's getting a bit awkward for MP in this laning stage. Now the supports are trying to make the best out of that side camp, but not trying to be too close to take away all the XP from Owie. So they're kind of in that awkward spot. Back at mid lane, let's see how Envy's been doing here. 16-7 to Weeha's 12-2. As we see arrowing and still taking out the catapult and making the most out of the laning phase. And MSS still the big breadwinner in CS, 22 CS. Moon though right behind him at 18. Both off laners in a nice win-win situation.
Yeah, a lot of those are jungle creeps from Moon though. Had retreated back to the jungle a couple of times. And used his shrine up there, at least having the luxury of that. But MSS actually gonna be going for the Vanguard first, as he is having such an amazing start. That's one of the other big advantages of NP having this laning stage set up this way. Is MSS has the luxury of going for that Vanguard first. You know, something that a lot of axes like to do whenever they get this nice 1v1 melee versus melee in the safe lane. And you're just gonna start cutting the waves. Doesn't want to go too far in because people can TP rotate.
Bottom lane here, an approach from Misery now that he has 2 of the Hellbear Smashers. Almost able to get the jump onto SVG. And as we saw, an unfortunate Sunstrike will miss its mark. MP will avoid the trouble, but it's still DC kind of dictating and being assertive in the bottom lane when they're the ones going into this aggro lane setup. So Resolution will begin to slowly crawl himself back with the CS and get closer to even where Owie is. And while MP now stepping away from this bottom lane, their support duo, Flesh and Bane, now smoke and roll towards this mid lane. A potential setup on for Wee. Can they leap the sleep? Yes, they will. Then, oh, they did take it off right there with the Forge creep. Not going to be enough though. They're able to move in and finish them off with the help of the Starstorm coming out from Envy. That will secure it.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt, but just a half second too late. Barely clips him with the edge of the stun. Now the Invoker going down as well. So we talked about NP basically winning all 3 lanes. Bottom ends up being sort of a wash after some nice rotations for Misery, and Resolution about on par with AUI's CS, but mid lane and top lane really not going how you want them to if you're a DC fan.
Yeah. Well, DC changed things up a bit for themselves. They've left Resolution in that one-on-one in the bottom lane, and now Misery and Soxa both get to the side of Moon here. Moon has that level 6, he has that roar, he's looking to land it. Boom! Yells right at MSS, there's a Sunstrike, should be more than enough to be able to get the job done, but MSS gets the call off, almost gets a few extra, spins the dunk, gets the kill on Moon, and this man's walking away into the Moonlight Shadow. Barely avoids the Hadouken there. How the hell did he walk away and live with that? He's gone, Soxa narrowly avoids getting slept and set up there from SVG. MSS is back. He actually spots out Misery, it looks like, here, hiding within the trees. A new Sunstrike, also going to miss the mark. Just behind the Bane. They make the approach for Misery. They hit him with the Starfall, and that's going to be plenty. He goes out. A series of some unfortunate stuff there for DC. Means that rotation gank and that roar debut just all come up without any sort of serious bloodshed.
Yeah, they didn't have any sentries, and EE had just hit 6 a little bit ago. Gets the Moonlight Shadow at level 6. A lot of players will go for the second point and leap, thinking, I'm not really going to use it this early on, but picks it up and uses it immediately, and saving MSS there, getting a little greedy with the call, thinking he can turn around, and does actually, so a really nice read from MSS, but meanwhile AOI does go down bottom, so Resolution.
Yeah, I caught the good action there, just Sox able to find a new rotation there to the bottom with the setup from the Crush after he sprints in. A Sunstrike will be there from Weehan. Obviously with Resolution already at attendance, it was more than enough to get the finish. Now we're at an even game as far as kills, 3-3. And Misery, so close to getting that courier it looked like. Will settle with residing inside the jungle, planting down a nice deep ward. And will begin his jungle work from here. As he does need to spend a little bit of that me time. He's level 4 and we're getting about 8 minutes in. You know, it's time to start building up, getting that hand to God ready to go. Make some extra farm. Uh-oh, could find himself in trouble. Woo! Able to backpedal a bit. Loses one of his creeps. Tries to slow them down. Oh, Rose is not able to get the connection there with the stun, so Misery build to walk out. What's happening in the top lane here? Sox is rolling in. Owie showed up. While MSS is still here. But it looks like things will fizzle out. Nothing will really end up coming of it. Arrow! Whoa! Connection from Envy onto Moon by the tower means that MSS can walk in, get the call, get the dunk. Nice shot there. That'll allow them to get to tier 1.
Yeah, and then MSS immediately TPing mid afterwards, so making sure this tower doesn't go down. Doesn't really want to go down to bottom, as if he pushes, he can't really push super far up, or he'll risk dying, unless he has a hero with him. So May's trying off as it comes off cooldown in 50 seconds. Probably going to continue jungling and working towards that Blink Dagger as they get the tower up top. So a really nice rotation for me in these lanes, going extremely well for NP. And this Axe is really just uncontestable at this point. It's extremely hard for them to do anything to him until Sox is level 6. They just don't have the damage. Is Moon going to be going for that Vlad's like we talked about? Not going for the traditional Necro book. I've seen a lot more of this build recently, as it just gives you even more split push, gives you some damage from the Vlad's aura onto the boars. Yeah. Overall, it's just a nice aura for fighting. Works well with the Venge and Slaughter as well, buffing up that's just the AoE physical damage.
Yeah, their team is just mega auras for sure. Vlad's is only going to help stack on top of that here, but DC's still kind of lacking a bit if they want to be able to have that kind of stampeding 5-man that their draft was hoping to achieve, because you have lots from MP coming ready to oppose and be a big threat. It looks like the Dire Courier will be sniped down there. MSS tried to rotate in through the bottom lane. He is very close, scary close to having this Blink Dagger, and it's a Blink Dagger with a Vanguard that would already been built up. This is a ridiculously farmed Axe. We'll have to see if MP are going to be able to avoid that Blink debut and all the trouble that's going to be coming with it within the moments after.
Yeah, at the very least, you see these heroes don't destroy themselves super hard once he gets a Blade Mail. It's obviously not something you want to have to deal with. Blink Blade Mail Axe at 15 minutes with a Vanguard on top of it, which is kind of the timing we're looking at. If MSS's farm rate keeps up, it'll probably slow down a little bit after he gets the Blink Dagger. He'll probably move around looking for some kills, but definitely a scary presence. But DC immediately move up to top lane as NP's pressuring bottom, and you see this 5-man is just really hard to deal with.
It's ridiculous. They have everything here. The Forged Spirits, the Boars, the Skeleton Trolls, they're all here, and now they're all dead as he rolls in, drops down the Starstorm. Leapfrogging up and above is going to be MSS connecting the call on from Moon. He's going to be forced to dish out the roar, and now Misery will be able to send him back and away from trouble here, but MP will clear out all the remaining clutter of creeps and try to maintain a bit of order here in the top lane.
Yeah, they get this couple of towers, so DC's space to move around the map be so constricted in as Soxa farming up down bottom, so giving him a little bit of space while they move around with the rest of the heroes. They're going to get the tier 1 mid as well, so DC, even in the position they're in, realizing MSS goes for that Vanguard, doesn't have the blink yet, and making advantage of that small window, getting these couple of towers, and now going to back off, realizing, hey, MSS has been off the map for a long time, probably has his blink now, and looking for some sort of a fight, which he is.
Still pretty impressive for MP with their early game to still hold somewhat of a lead based on the fact that DC have taken like 2 towers back-to-back in that top lane. Mid lane tier 1 was denied by Envy, but they still get a little bit extra money. Bottom lane, MSS jumps in for Resolution, eats the stun there, gets a couple of spins. Fiend's Grip will be committed and secured. Well worth, as it is the precious core Venge Resolution. A little expedition for them. They'll take the birdie too. and walk themselves on out. They came in here, they planted some wards and said that this DC jungle is now ours. DC have already planted a couple of wards in the MP jungle and said that that one's theirs, so we're kind of back even again.
Yeah, and you know, DC looking for anything they can find across the map. Realizing the NP just so strong at just five manning around the map right now. Their damage is extremely high, and DC now going to take this Roshan. So looking for whatever trades they can around the map. Going to lose the tier 2, but at least getting this Roshan. Not in the worst position ever, but definitely not the kind of situation you want to be. Venge, not typically a carry that's known for doing very well when she's behind.
Yeah, there is definitely some recovery she needs to do here. It looks like her Helm of the Dominator just about done, plus probably did one other big purchase there, it looks like. Maybe an Ogre Club en route here. Now, I'm not sure if they saw Owie go into his Metamorphosis there. I would figure that if they did, maybe they'd be considering trying to push forward and take fights while it's down, but what do you think they would want to do this Aegis here? Obviously there's a couple more towers for them to grab. Some require them running down through the scary bottom lane and pushing forward for this tier 1. But what do you think overall DC should look to do with the timing of this Aegis?
I think they wanna smoke up, which they are doing, and look for some sort of a pick off, look for a small skirmish, and any opportunity they can find where NP's overextended a little bit, and this really this nice ward from DC does spot moving backwards out of the jungle, so gonna try and catch them here. They have the Hawk coming in from Moon and the Roar online. MSS may get caught.
Ooh. Quick blink. MSS creates more space from himself and the rest of the team, and he's gonna be gone. Owie also TP's out. SVG also gonna be good. This smoke approach from DC is gonna be coming up a bit short, and they'll just take their leave to the mid lane and remain in bottom to push it out a bit. But more time will be ticking here. MP go back to their grind of farm. It looks like MSS is just about on par with timing. I'm getting that 15-minute blade mail. Rose up and above, looking to go for a Yules. He's got a lane to himself to kind of work with over here. And where is our Envy friend at? He's going right for the Ags. Now, at that point after, we've been seeing a mix of different type of Maranas. Arrow, not going to catch. But the spellcasting Marana moving forward and getting the E-Blade. Some even go as far as getting the Dagon build up. While others, continue with the more fighting Marana. Is there something you would particularly like to see Envy go for in this game?
I think you may go for something like a Blink Lincoln's. They have a lot of single target spells on DC. And just trying to survive through those initial jumps as we are actually getting...
Yeah, Fiend script here from SVG. And as it concludes, he's going to be sent right back and bailed out by Misery. Now popping the Moonlight Shadow, MP pull off, and looks like that may be the end of it here. Oh, a good lead in, but unfortunately that will cost him a cooldown. Misery simply hits one button and it's over.
Yeah, DC really want to just try and get at these lanes as far as possible, split the map and look for pickoffs until they get to that point where they can take these 5N fights where their physical damage is strong enough to bring down some of these heroes. As NP really hard to bring down at this point, as DC are considerably far behind. But it's kind of hard to push out these lanes whenever you've lost all these towers, losing the tier 2 bottom. At the very least, they are holding on to this tier 1 mid, so have some semblance of map control as Weehaw continues to farm up, sitting top of the net worth, hovering around there with the Marana. So you can see Soxa just trying to work up towards that Blink Dagger. 200 away now at 16 minutes, so not the worst timing in the world considering the start he had, and with that, they may be able to get a few more pickoffs.
As we see here, Envy stalking him a bit with this Invis rune. Would be a shame if he heads to the lane and then was to get hit, but looks like Envy is not going to be able to get the mark there as his rune does expire. So things should be nice for Soxa to be able to coast into getting that Blink Dagger for the sake of DC. But DC are also not going to be able to get much out of that Aegis, it looks like. I mean, it's enough to kind of, force NP from not being too aggressive and poaching onto DC turf. But as far as kind of advancing their own game, moving forward with objectives or taking any sort of picks, doesn't seem like they were able to get too much. So they take the time instead to farm, You know, Resolution certainly would love to get some recovery here. He's sitting pretty still low on this net worth. Moon even still just a little bit ahead of him. But he's got a journey ahead of him here.
Yeah, not too far behind AY though, at the very least. Sort of what happens whenever you get these aggro try situations. Both carriers a lot of times will come out behind, compared to what they would have had in the safe lane, unless, you know, one side gets a whole lot of kills, which really didn't happen. They sort of just traded farm, and you kind of both just get less farm.
They're running for Resolution, and he is just so far and away. Without that tier 2 standing, it feels like nobody can become close and aid. So MSS is going to be able to jump on forward, get the initiation, and finish it off with a dunk at the end. Another grab for MP here. And them just showing that as soon as the Aegis expires, they're not afraid to kind of get back into fisticuffs.
We are working towards the Aghanims, 1 KOA at this point. So that'll bolster their team fighting a little bit, but they still really need to get the jump to take these fights. If they aren't jumping and bursting one hero, then their damage is sort of limited. They have a whole lot of single target, a lot of blow one hero up, and then we go in, we go out, we blow another hero up, until Invoker is extremely farmed, and then they can sort of, you know, do whatever they want, play map control. They're still, there he goes, pinging the shrine.
Light of Heaven, are you for real? Every game. Top lane, jumping from MSS. The call is out for Weehaw. He's like the remaining X Factor for this team. He goes for the Ghost Walk TP, but MSS is a Spin Lord! He's a freaking Spin Lord, man! Creeps, of course, we're all there, providing with the most chances possible, but, I mean, come on. Blended up now, Weehaw just waits in the afterlife. This is going to be a hard shot for DC. MP come together now and could consider going more into DC turf. Those wards they had dropped down previously in the bottom lane have expired, so it's time to go out on a new adventure and kind of take map control back again.
Yeah, Moon in the meanwhile has picked up a gem. So DC trying to get the whatever vision advantage they can, so they push out these lanes a little bit better, look for those picks like we talked about before. So I'm not sure if they timed out or if they had cleared them out, but they have back control back over their jungle as Moon. Moving down here, maybe looking to push it out. A couple other DC heroes heading down here. EE down here as well, so if he goes a little too far out, maybe he can go down as Moon pushes the lane out with the boar. The Hawks scouting. They do spot him.
Just got that blink dagger, but he gets roared the second the bird flies over him. So it's a hard shot, but as mentioned, already got the blink dagger. So not going to be taking the biggest loss there, but still he is the top net worth in the game. And DC will be happy to take any sort of forgiving gold. Who got that last hit too? It was going to be Soxo, it looks like. And on the back of that, DC now walking down this bottom lane. It's time to get a tier 1. See if they consider a defense. We have MSS on one side, we have SVG's Bane on the other. MSS decides to make the jump and the call. It's going to be holding Resolution in place long enough for the rotation in. Soxa will follow it up with a stun, but there's going to be the Fiend's Grip, and that's Resolution going out. Soxa will quickly flee, but, you know, Resolution supposed to be bringing in all that extra DPS for the team. It just feels like more weight is going to be put on the shoulders of Weehaw in this one.
Yeah, it's really hard for Avenge to be able to farm out these lanes whenever you've lost all your map control like that. A super immobile hero here that needs to kind of wants to be with their team and just take sort of, you know, in this 5-man position where you can walk down these towers, play as a unit, or have these, you know, these mobile cores with you. And you can see that's kind of what DC wanted to go for with the Beastmaster and the Slaughter. It's heroes that can play with Avenge that buff her up and allow you to go with this 5-man, but their lanes just went so poorly. Axe pick, you know, wonders for NP so far. 4-0 and 3 on MSS with the Crimson Guard now as well, so massively going to mitigate DC's physical damage, which is, you know, almost all of their damage at this point, as we have still most of his damage being physical as well, until he gets some more items up and gets more skill or points up into the Quest and Wax.
And that's to say he's able to kind of freely unload all of his damage on somebody, and whoever it is, it's going to be like one person, and then you got to hope that the supports from MP aren't there to kind of stifle you from doing it, and it's a lot to really look out for. Lesh could roll in with the stun, Bane to set to sleep. His Enfeeble may even be a problem later into the game, but we'll have to see. As mentioned before, it's on DC to kind of set up their fight with a good initiation so they can blow someone up right out of the gate. We just haven't seen any of those opportunities. It's always been MP moving in and taking the fight. With the exception of, you know, that jump on Envy, I'd say.
Yeah, and DC really wants a lot more of that. You can see them all sort of moving as 5 now, really scared. As Envy comes down to this bottom lane again. This is the kind of stuff they need. They'll leap away in time, so they won't be getting that kill there. And Misery does have the eggs now at the very least, so like we talked about, doing sort of that Lil style split pushing, shoving in mid. The Thunderhide and a couple of odd job creeps.
Yeah, he's like, where are my golems at? He's like, I want a golem for sure. Not one over in this ancient camp, unfortunately. Just more of those little dinosaurs. Nothing over here yet, but looking forward to soon enough. Roche is up. MP go in with the arrow. Get right to work. Nearby, Saksa has spotted out Rose. Hits him with the crush. Rose will drop out the Yules here. His team looks to come to his aid. And it looks like DC might know what's happening here. Weehaw, look at his positioning. He is holding out. Will dish out the Tornado EMP combo onto Owie. Tries to Manta, but still will lose the mana. Too much, holds a bit of it. Will be able to restore a lot of his blue bar. Stun on the mid lane as they look to get the jump onto Saksa here. Look at the Metamorph Illusions. Dunk. Not necessary. We'll be able to get the finish regardless. Bit above waiting on the high ground is Moon there. He's got a blink and a roar. No real good opening. Pretty much been the trick all game. MP will run back, hit the showers here. Take out the ancient camp and get right back into action. There's a Roche that's still standing. They want this Aegis. And they know now a man down. Bringing in all the amp damage is going to be too tough of a fight for DC, but DC might be in a, like, I don't know, do or die situation, knowing that if MP take this Roche, it could be as good as the game, so they are really here trying to contest it. Putting the golem inside, MP also not really committed. Lock themselves out from the pit.
Yeah, they know DC is holding this hill, but it's very, very hard for them to contest. They don't really have a vision hero of their own. Beastmaster constantly scouting around with Hawks, looking for the jump wherever it can be found, but MSS hasn't popped the Crimson Guard yet, so as long as he isn't the one getting instantly blown up, he can always pop that, and it's very hard for DC to bring down any of the other heroes.
Oh man, they slowly smoke and creep in. They're going to be able to get the jump blink. A sleep is there though, the follow-up crush. A meatball above, goes for the Thunder and gets it under resolution. That will lead to the quick dunk and finish. And a good hot start for MP. Hit up with a nice tornado set though. Misery waits, backs, looks to send Saksa back home. Should be able to do so and will. But now he's waiting, snoozing, and now dead. MP quickly rock out too, and that was the opening that they could have asked for to move in and get the finish on the Roche. Nice little approach from DC, but good quick reactions from MP. Get the turnaround play.
Yeah, I think the sleep actually like dodged the venge stun, or it mitigated some of the damage, so it was able to buy some time. We are throwing the tornado in, Owie almost going down. So he can airball some stun strike, maybe. But
they were able to get the chase for Saksa, and back in the pit once more. And we, not too much mana though. So this will be a Roche for MP. MP got to be feeling so good at this point in time. Their team overall has a 6K plus net worth advantage. 3 of their core sitting at the top. Only Weehaw ahead of them. The rest of DC, unfortunately, a bit suffering. And this is MP pushing in for what feels like forever since they've been able to make it all the way to the back end of a qualifier and actually qualify for the LAN. Are they finally going to do it? Will the anime story begin? It seems so.
yeah, we'll have to see. You can, you know, sort of like the story from last series. Rose actually above the net worth of Resolution. Or was just a second ago where those creeps died. So right around neck and neck, and that sort of tells you kind of the dire situation that DC's in. They picked this Invoker to be more of like the late game farmer, and he is very, very farmed at top of the net worth. But whenever your other core is that poor, it kind of gives you some issues unless, like we talked about, you're blowing up a hero at the start of the fight, and that's what it all comes down to. If they aren't getting that initial jump, then it's very, very hard for them to do much.
Top lane roar into Envy. Chance for DC to get a good pick. Can they kill him twice though? Weehaw drops the cold wall and says, no, we're just going to do that. And they run away. Happy to get the snipe of the Aegis though. That means that MP can't just kind of hold that over their heads for any longer. And
yeah,
Now DC can go back into maybe trying to find that unique, quick approach, but we'll just have to see if MP are going to allow those kind of openings or not. They're back inside their jungle farming up. They have the net worth overall still, but here they come. Smoke down this mid lane. Misery will be able to summon back his creeps just in good time, but are they going to be able to get the catch? Look who's hanging out nearby. It's Saksa, but he's swimming his way all the way through the bottom lane. Doesn't look like MP are going to be able to find anybody at that point. So kind of a question I posed in the previous game at MP now. Where do you go from here? They just lost their Aegis. Do you just go for the siege? Do you look to take the fight to yourself? They have the answer actually before me as they metamorph and go for the tier 2. Is it all the way forward and into the high ground though?
I don't think they go for the high ground. I think they just sort of play around. They don't overextend too much and look for whatever towers they can. They're trying to stay as grouped up as possible so they don't give up too many picks. And yeah, they want to avoid something like this where Aoi gets swapped in as Saksa.
He gets swapped. Saksa though tried to go for a nice little jump on the MSS to take him out of the fight, but nearby was SVG, puts him to sleep, and it's going to be MP rolling forward with this fight. 2 already going down. The Misery creeps trying to make it back inside, still eating a lot of harassment here. And now the preemptive Ice Ball going to get dropped. NP are coming, and they're looking to qualify. The tier 3 begins to siege out from some of the illusions of Aoi, but MP not able to force out any buybacks yet from DC here, and they may just end up backing if they're going to just respawn. It looks like that will be the case.
Yeah, Metamorphosis is a cooldown now, but as the Lincoln's up on AOI, so limiting a lot of that pickup potential is the E going for 1 as well, like we talked about, so just a little bit of gold off. After this wave, we'll almost have it, sells his bottle or whatever, we'll have it completed, and then with that, it'll take at least 2 DC heroes to bring down anyone really from NP. These pushes are going to be super hard as whenever you can't roar either of the cores, MSS is never going to be envisioned, and roaring these supports isn't the greatest either because the Axe can always be counter-initiating or the Potom ult saving. Once they have these completed, it's really going to limit the ways that DC can take a fight.
DC pick up and run right up towards the top lane here, looking to infiltrate NP neighborhood. Saksa led it in with a nice early ward, but now they start pushing their way through the top lane. I don't know if they're seeing if they can get out Weeha or something, but they have got MP a bit curious. They are now attending to the top lane here. Rolling forward though, look at this. Rose and Envy cross paths here with a couple of creeps, a couple of dominated creeps here. And I guess DC are not going to be looking to press their luck in this top lane. Once they see plenty of NP around, they are going to get the hell out. It's a very scary situation for DC. I mean, another bad fight could end up leading to Rax going down. So this is... I want to make sure that if they get the approach on MP, it's a one that's going to be a win.
Yeah, so you can see E just leaping in with no fear now that he has the Aegis. Didn't even have leap up whenever he jumped in, but... to say that, gets roared up after his Lincoln's got broken, but had to use the cold snap to do it, and then just simply leaps away. So the roar and cooldown now, not the biggest of deals. It's kind of hard for MP to just run down a lane.
Yeah.
Roar not really the thing stopping them from doing that. Just want to take their time and look for the perfect opportunity, as they know how far they are ahead and how farmed their Terrorblade is compared to the Venge. So MP just going to take their time. MSS picking up a BKB now as well.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, he's gross. Still pretty high in the net worth. He had the biggest success in the early game to lead him to this point, and now they're looking to take everything that they've built up and run it down this mid lane and qualify for a LAN. DC need to muster up whatever they got in defense, install tactics, whatever you got to keep this alive and push it to a game 3. But here he comes, the mighty Metamorph. Terrorblade begins to go to work. Doxa will step in trying to slow it down with a bit of a crush, but the siege is on. This tier 3 is going to be dropped. And now the work goes on to the Rax here. MP going to be doing the first significant base damage. Another follow-up stun. This time Soxa will get hit with the Yules. The follow-up stun's there. He does get scooted. Envy jumps in, hits him with the Starstorm. Roar's going to be coming out. It's going to get connection onto SVG. Looking to go for the burst. Crimson Card going to get popped out from MSS, and MP will back up and regroup here. The Moonlight Shadow. Damage done though. Tier 3 out. Racks down. MP very satisfied with that, just kind of going down the agenda.
Yeah, I was picking up the soul booster from the secret shop, so I wasn't there whenever they initially pushed in, so it gave Aoi some time to just pummel in those right clicks, and now using the Metamorphosis to perfect effect, they get the racks and they just back on out. You can see Misery actually picking up a Dagon, so realizing that, hey, we really have to burst, you know, the Terrorblade or this Axe or Rana or whoever, otherwise it's just almost impossible for us to take these team fights, so playing more into that narrative, that style that they drafted, and it just didn't work out early on, and now...
Oh! Nice little jump there. They got to pick on the Rose in the top lane between Soxa and Wii. Just a Lesh support, who does have a buyback. But DC are looking to force it out. They're looking to just pretty much do what MP did to them in the previous game. It's time to go in on the mid lane. MP just throws himself into the army, drops down the Starstorm, does some significant work, and leaps back out. MSS will go in there next. Finds Resolution, just slashes right through him and dunks him down and home. Resolution's going to be out of this one, buyback, but DC now crippled in a bit of the damage department. Weeha, though, looking to unleash on for Aoi. Lincoln's going to be popped. Envy eating a lot of damage. Re-engagement, good crush there from Soxa, but again, no damage. No follow-up. DC's throwing pillows at this point. Soxa's inside, gets hit with the Starstorm. Down the crush, he's a fishman on the run here. Fishy fugitive. We're going to TP out, and he's gone. They make it away, but that was DC's almost like barbaric run down mid lane, knowing they needed this, and really they walk away not getting a lot except losing Resolution.
Yeah, maybe just hoping that maybe MSS whips this call, or they're able to kite around a little bit while this Leshrac is down, and take some buildings off. But they have to go for these risky plays. They don't lose the most. Resolution going down another time doesn't really change that much, as there's almost no way he can farm off the 2k gold he needs for a BKB, and even if he does get that, it doesn't really change how they fight or anything really at all. So I don't think they're too sad about Resolution going down there, but they are definitely sad about the current state of the game.
Can we take a look at our fancy little line graph here? You can see 15k of a net worth advantage for MP at this moment. Same goes for XP. Almost getting closer to insurmountable kind of advantage here for MP right now at this state in the game. And it looks like they are going to be waiting it out for the next Roche in hopes of having that extra life as a security. Be able to close this one out. It is a longer timer than I'm sure they would like to see, but it is going to cost them another 2 minutes before they can even move in there and get things started. Close arrow there for Soxa, is able to blink out just before the attack connects and finds his way out from what could have been potential trouble. MP are on the prowl though, watch out.
Yeah, does have the Scotty now completed on the Terrorblade as well, so further building that tankiness and further building the DC's impending issue of, we saw it a little bit before, of what happens whenever NP walks up to the high ground with an Aegis or with a pickoff. Or with a, key spell down, and they just start hitting your buildings, and as of now, DC just doesn't really have an answer. They need to find some key pickoff splitter on the map, but NP is not giving them that, as they are kind of getting split pushed, so it's hard for them to actually get these lanes up, but they don't care too much whenever they're doing it. But DC's getting these lanes out, they're farming, but what is that farm actually leading to? And not too much as of now. Find an Arcane Rune or the Terrorblade maybe, so gonna be able to pop the Metamorphosis and have it up pretty quickly. It's actually pretty huge, as well as more illusions for this push. They may actually try and take bottom racks off of this.
Looks like they're picking out the bottom lane though. The push coming in from Wii and Misery's Dragon Army is something that will have to be taken care of here. Looks like Envy will be there to kind of help out in that front. But yeah, overall, we could see NP then rendezvous and utilize the most out of this Arcane Rune that Aoi has been able to pick up. Shrine's gonna go down. 1 of 2. And now MP just kind of going through the motions here. Moon pushing out the top lane. Oh, look at this play. Moon's suddenly inside the Roche. And they are actually going to be able to do it here. Oh, unless these illusions come in. They come in, they TP to the shrine. They might be able to get there.
Fast enough.
They're TPing to the shrine already. I think they're already here. Yeah. Oh, Metamorphosis. MP's like, don't even think about it. This is our Roche. Thank you for starting it, but we're going to look to finish it. Moon on the high ground. That's a gem. It doesn't look like they see it's up there, but this is going to be a Roche for MP, an Aegis in hand. Moon does have a buyback, and we'll have a roar for it. Oh, Rose was not able to force to the... I don't know if he was trying to make it to the high ground, but maybe he knows there's a gem up there. Be a nice grab.
Yeah, and a really nice attempt from DC. That's, you know, one of the few things they could do to stall this game out longer is try and steal that Roshan and delay NP's impending high ground push, but it doesn't work out. Sniff it out, and they stop it from happening. As they're going to catch Wii now as well, so even without the Metamorphosis, as it is on cooldown, they may just sort of march towards the high ground and try and force a buyback from the Invoker.
Invisibility.
Big pick right there at what looked like it started as an attempt to get the jump from Saksa onto NP side. EE rolls in with a nice arrow and gets the connection. Moon looking to cut off Rose here with a nice little roar. We'll reward them with the bursted takedown on the support, but now Owie rolls in from behind. Look at the cut off Moon here. Envy will be able to show up and get the finish right there. Killing spree for Owie. 6-19. Things still on the up and up for MP. With this takedown and with still Invoker on the sidelines, maybe it will continue to roll in. With back-to-back takedowns onto Moon, he also does not have a buyback now. And he also will not have the roar. Let's see how much NP turn it up here to try to get closure in this game, what could be the last game.
Yep. AOI is going to have the butterfly as well. Actually has the full thing completed, and they're looking to end the game right here, right now. None of their lanes really being pushed that much. You can see Misery and Saksa furiously storming towards this bottom lane, trying to get some pressure down in this bottom lane. EE has picked up the bots, and they're going to maybe look for a pick-off here in the meanwhile.
They pop the Moonlight Shadow, and they blink right in. They spot out Misery. He's gone. He does have a buyback. But MP are just hunting like sharks here into every lane and eating the DC bait for now. Looks like Resolution will wait behind to continue to keep the pressure off on some of these lanes, but Saksa jumps in. They are able to pop out the Lincolns with the amp, but as the roar comes out from Moon, a wild MSS Axa shows up in all of his golden glory and just starts spinning his way violently right through Moon. And they're going to be looking for Saksa too here. He's able to get forced back, tries to hide within the trees, looks to go for a TP, but no, sir, you will also get dunked on. That's going to be Saksa out, no buyback for just about a minute. Him and Moon not here for the defense. Could be the final hurrah. Look at MP go, man. Metamorphosis, they're going in for the tier 3. This is not set to stand. They're working in for another Rax here onto DC. And DC need to find a way to line up a shot or any sort of defense, and it doesn't look like they can. These Rax are gone, just like that. MP are on the verge of finally taking Qualifier over DC and securing a trip here to China and to compete at the DAC LAN.
Yeah, they, you know, coming into a series that we thought was slightly DC favor, but he said NP in a really good position right now. His Resolution almost going down.
Has to go back, has to tag the shrine here, but they are going to be able to get it done. Good game, calls out. MP have done it in a 2-0 of a best-of-3 final. Have bested Digital Chaos. NP, man,